one of the biggest things that I think us as mayor, and Mayor Cahill is here from Beverly today, and all of us talk about every single day of the week is, the high cost of energy, and that doesn't escape anybody. I don't care who you are and what you do. It's something that's hard to grasp, and the governor's been great about coming up with solutions right along the way. And today she's going to make an announcement. It's pretty comprehensive, and it needs everyone's help. And that's the only way these things work, is for us all to work together to make sure these things happen, so that every family can succeed and live the quality of life that we live in. The greatest state, as far as I'm concerned. I visited many. The greatest state in the United States, and that I think you could all agree. And that's why we're all here. That's why we're here when it's 20 below and 12-inch rainstorms, Governor. Mm-hmm. And let me just say, after the rainstorm we had, maybe you don't know or haven't heard about it, I think the press has, we got over 12 inches of rain in less than 3.5 hours. In Colorado, they got 12 inches of rain all year. And first person to step up was the governor for us, and she's stayed right with us, her administration. And a lot of times people show up and say, hey, anything you need, and I could tell you, anything we've needed. And then some. The governor, mass.gov, MBTA, and her total administration has been here to help us, and we can't thank you enough. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure. No, sure.
Hey, Mayor Mazzarella, really appreciate it. Yeah, my God, I remember we were standing over that. Remember that completely washed out bridge, the commuter rail run over, and homes just sinking, and businesses and lives just totally upended. And I just want to say to the people of Leominster in this region, you guys did a heck of a job coming through a really trying time. And we didn't get a whole lot of help from the federal government, but we, did what we could. And boy, you guys really showed what resilience is all about. So it's nice to be here when it's sunny. And it was great to sit with the mayor. It's a true story. A couple weeks ago, I showed up at City Hall. We had a really nice lunch and talked about a lot of things. And I think the thing that was probably...
She paid.
I did pay. Yeah, I'm good for that. I mean, it was pizza and salad, but it was good. I think probably the central point of our discussion was around costs. Okay? I stand before you today proud that Massachusetts, we're #1. The rankings have come out. We are #1 for education, healthcare, innovation. We have the safest drinking water in the country. We're the safest state in the country. We have a lot of great things going for us. But like many states, we struggle right now with costs. And that's why every day our team is laser focused on how do we drive down the cost of healthcare, which we know are high? How do we drive down the cost for small businesses? How do we drive down the costs of energy, right? And that's what we're here to talk about today. And we had a helpful conversation, and I'm just really delighted to be welcomed back to this great city. We shout out to Johnny Appleseed and to Pink Flamingos, and I have pink flamingos in my office. If you come, Sue Shalafo, your family gave me the original mold, and I proudly display them, and people come from all over, and they're like, what's up with the flamingos? And I'm like, you got to understand, they're out of Massachusetts. Another thing we celebrate is we celebrate the 250th anniversary of this great state in our country this year. So good afternoon to all, to members of the City Council, to everyone in Leominster. Special shout out to Jason Main, who is the Veteran Service Officer here, as well as Jolene and the team at this incredible building. Look around, there's not enough room for more plaques, so sorry. But you would be in good company. You would be in excellent company because of the men and women who are honored and represented on these walls. And I just want to say thank you guys for everything that you do, those in the veterans community out there every day helping our military families, our service members, our veterans who really need a lot of help. And I was very proud to have filed and signed the most comprehensive veterans legislation in history, the HERO Act. And so appreciate people like Jason on the front lines making sure that people are able to take advantage of all the good stuff there. So to Councilors Frida, Robbins, Noseworthy, Shalafu Zephyr, thank you for the opportunity for us to be by here today. To our colleagues in the legislature, I want to thank you, Senator John Cronin and Representative Natalie Higgins, for the work that we've been able to do the last few years, and look forward to working with you on this energy bill as we move forward. To Mayor Cahill, who made the trip from Beverly
All right, Mayor
Yes.
Cahill, thank you.
Mayor, I really appreciate your commitment. You know, you hosted us when we announced the coastal resilience planning. Like, we got a plan as a state and as regions, particularly when it comes to coastal communities, and I just want to thank you for your partnership and your leadership and for being here today. And congratulations, let me say, to Leominster as well. I'm reading, of course, I should have noted. Did you know that Leominster, along with Chelsea, is named 2 of just 20 finalists in the National Civic League's All-America City Award for 2025? Yeah, I'll be cheering you on. You'll be in Denver. I'll be cheering you on in June. It's an award that recognizes excellence in local innovation, civic engagement, and cross-sector collaboration, all foundational values here in Leominster and really across Massachusetts. So why are we here today? We're here today to talk about the action that I'm taking to lower your bills, to lower your gas bills, lower your heating bills, lower your electric bills. Earlier this year, we launched an energy affordability agenda, and we committed to a set of actions there on the spot that were going to save us $6 billion over the next 5 years. So we announced that action that we took a few months ago to save $6 billion over the next 5 years. Today, we're here to say we're not done, and I'm filing legislation that's going to save another $10 billion or more. And I just want to say huge gratitude and thanks to my team, led by our fantastic Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Rebecca Tepper, Undersecretary of Energy, Mike Judge, Commissioner Elizabeth Mahoney of the Department of Energy Resources, Undersecretary of Decarbonization and Resilience, Catherine Antos, Executive Director for the Office of Energy Transformation, Melissa Lavinson, Undersecretary of Environmental Justice and Equity, Maria Boleyn Power. Thank you to all the staff, the advocates, and the partners who worked with our team to contribute your ideas and real ways that we can make a difference here. My goal has been to do everything that we can to drive down energy costs. That was the charge, that was the mission given to our team. We started with a 10% rate reduction in March and April. We added a $50 rebate to your bills. In total, we delivered about $225 million in direct savings in just the past couple of months. Then we moved forward with a discounted rate that's not only for our low-income residents, it's also for our moderate-income households. We're the first state in the country to provide a moderate income discount rate. And we're taking a number of other steps. I know that the issues driving up energy costs have built up over years. As I've said before, whether it's cutting taxes or fixing transportation or building more homes, we're not a team that's about kicking the can. We have to get after it. And I wish some other things had been done over the years so that we actually had more housing and better infrastructure and more energy sources coming into the state. But we are where we are. So here's what we're going to do. We're filing a bill today that I'm calling the Energy Affordability, Independence, and Innovation Act. As I said, we expect it will save consumers over $10 billion over time, including $100 million in the first year alone. Here's what it's going to do. Number one, it's going to take charges off your bills. For too long, it's been the practice to add more charges onto your bills. We're going to start removing a bunch of those things. Two, we're going to expand that moderate income discount so that now gas customers will be able to get it in addition to our electric customers. And three, it's going to bring more energy into Massachusetts. More supply means lower prices. So that's it in summary. Secretary Tepper will talk more about it, but I believe that this legislation is going to give us the tools that we need to create more accountability for our utilities and maximize every single ratepayer dollar. We need to make sure that every single dollar that's paid in is we're getting the most out of that. And we have to make sure that you're not stuck paying for corporate investments that don't help you either. So there's a lot more to this bill. We're going to stay focused on things as we move forward. And I'm going to pass it over to a person who's been a super leader, Secretary Tepper. Again, she and her team are the ones responsible for working to reform our permitting and siting, which is very unsexy. But I'll tell you, it's very important because if we don't have a modernized grid, and if we don't have substations, and if we don't have stuff built out, we're not going to be able to power our homes and our businesses. And kudos to the team for getting that done in the last year, and many thanks to the legislature for seeing that that got done. With that, I give you Secretary Tepper.
Well, this team doesn't do anything that's sexy, so we're not gonna be talking about that today. We're pretty straightforward on energy savings right now, and that's what we're focusing on. Thank you, Governor, and to Mayor and to the Veterans Center for honoring us here today. We wanted to come to North Central Massachusetts because this is an area of the state with particularly high utility costs, and our veterans deserve support more now than ever. And this is a very exciting moment personally for me. For a long time, I've been advocating to get costs off of customer bills, and today that's what we're doing. I want to start by expressing my gratitude to everyone in this room. A few months ago, the governor charged us with developing an energy affordability legislation. We put out a call for ideas, and you would not be surprised to hear we got many, many, many ideas. They flooded in. I think everybody recognized what a difficult winter we had all had. And how much people were hurting from having to pay their large electric and gas bills. Especially want to thank the legislature for their proposals and collaboration. With this new legislation, we're going to take control of our energy future in a few ways. Let me tell you a little bit about that. First, we're taking some big charges off of customer bills. We're proposing to phase out the alternative portfolio standard, reform net metering, and change how programs like Mass.gov are financed. Customers should only be paying for what they need when they need it, and these programs need reform. The legislation also directs the DPU to move away from charges that spike in the winter and the summer, and to cap month-to-month bill increases where possible. Taken together, these reforms alone will save ratepayers billions and help families and businesses stick to their monthly budget. The other major component of the legislation is bringing energy into the state and our region. This has been my focus since day one. That's why we brokered a compromise on siting and permitting reform. That's why we have Canadian Hydro back on track to come into our country, our state, and why we created a team that spends 100% of their time strengthening relationships with our neighbors and Canada. It is now more important than ever for Massachusetts to build energy that we can count on. With today's announcement, we're proposing that the state take a look at nuclear. We're not talking about sort of your old school nuclear power plant. What we're talking about is cutting edge, small scale nuclear technology. We're also breaking down barriers to build more energy in Massachusetts and regionally. With more flexible procurement authority, we'll be able to supply the state with the energy we need, and at the same time, be more flexible about when we buy that electricity. These two ideas are critical as the federal administration is destabilizing global energy markets. These common sense proposals that will get energy built and it will keep costs down. Building energy also will power our innovation economy. Everywhere I go, I hear from companies, hospitals, universities, and entrepreneurs who want to control their energy use. They want to build their own geothermal to heat and cool their buildings, but they can't because they can't make the financing work. They want to build housing and grow their businesses, but our grid is holding them back. Today's legislation changes that. Our reforms will make the grid smaller, more resilient, and ensure that the people who are using it most will pay the most. This protects regular customers and small businesses while unleashing the full potential of our innovation economy. I do want to close by thanking everybody again who helped us craft this bill, especially my team who is all here. I like to say that I have the best team in government, and I really do feel like I do. The governor charged us with coming up with this bill, and these guys just, boom, got to work looking for every possible way to save customers money. And I think we've come to a really good place with the help of the legislature. And now I think we can spark some conversation about how to do things differently. And we hope everybody is going to help us join us in finding those solutions. As the governor said, we're not about kicking the can down the road. This is a time where Massachusetts families really can't afford to wait. So we're on it, and we're hoping that you'll help us with this legislation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Cronin, and I have the privilege to serve as the state senator for the city of Leominster. And before I begin my remarks, I also just want to recognize my colleague, Senator Mike Barrett from Lexington, who chairs the TUE committee, the joint committee in the Senate. But thank you, Secretary Tepper, and I want to reiterate to you, Governor Healey, what Mayor Mazzarella said. In September 2023, this city faced really an unprecedented natural disaster, and you were there for us. And there are hundreds of families who will never forget it, so thank you. And thank you for choosing Leominster again for this announcement. Today, Governor Healey's administration is continuing its work to build a vibrant economic future for working families here in the Commonwealth. And it's continued work. Partnering with the legislature, the governor filed the biggest working and middle-class tax relief package in Massachusetts history. She got it done, and she signed it into law. Partnering with the legislature, the governor filed a historic housing bill, and she tripled the Housing Development Incentive Program, which unlocked thousands of new units here in gateway cities and directed and spurred hundreds of millions of dollars of private investment to housing production. She got it done, and she signed it into law. Partnering with the legislature, the governor filed an economic development package that made critical economic development investments in 21st century jobs, investing in climate tech, investing in life sciences. She got it done and signed it into law. Anyone sensing a pattern here? But these are pocketbook issues. These are kitchen table issues. These are economic issues. These are the issues that matter, that actually matter, and actually make a difference to working families here in our state. And I think Governor Healey and the legislature don't have time for games. We're here to collaborate. We're here to get things done. We're here to make life better and make life easier for people like my constituents here in the gateway cities of Fitchburg and Leominster. People who wake up every day, play by the rules, work really hard, and fight every week to put together a budget that just gets more stressful and more harder seemingly every year. Utility bills are too high in Massachusetts. And alongside the cost of housing, this is the #1 issue my office hears about from constituents. Too many families are struggling to pay their monthly bills, especially seniors on a fixed income, especially working families, especially veterans. And so today I'm grateful that we have a governor that is doing something about it. Governor Healey, thanks for your continued leadership to make the Commonwealth more affordable, and I look forward to continued partnership with your administration and to working to get legislation back to your desk, signed into law, to deliver again for the men and women we have the privilege to represent at the State House and to make the Commonwealth more affordable. Thank you. And I'm proud now to introduce my colleague representing the city of Leominster, State Representative Natalie Higgins.
Thank you, Senator Cronin, Governor Healey, and Secretary Tepper. Thank you so much for highlighting the needs of communities like Leominster with this announcement. When I became state representative 9 years ago, I had a little bit of an idea that a lot of my job would be making government work for folks and solving problems. My legislative aide, Isabel, who's taking a picture right now, got me a sign that says everything is figure-outable, right? Like to remind us that every single challenge our constituents bring us, we can figure it out. One of the really hard ones are these utility bills, and it feels often like for our constituents it is a hamster wheel that they cannot get off of. There are so many people in this room that work each and every day with Leominster residents, making sure that they can afford that utility bill and stay in their home. We have the Spanish American Center, I saw Mock. We partner with New View Communities and RCAP Solutions, and they can do little help, right, of getting folks onto a payment plan. But that is an organization using really precious dollars to cover a quarter of the bill. And then the rest of that bill gets tacked on the bill that they already couldn't afford. It feels like a really insurmountable problem, and I'm so glad for the governor and her administration looking for real solutions to eliminate and reduce utility costs. As the daughter of small business owners, for my parents who have a physical store, keeping the lights on is a huge cost and prevents them from being able to grow in the way that they would hope to. Investments in our communities like this make communities so much stronger. And I am so grateful for our next speaker who has done so much. I've gotten to know her in our love for public higher education and our love for our communities and how important Leominster and Fitchburg can grow together. Ellen DiGeronimo cut her teeth in Salem, leading economic development, and brought everything that she learned back to her home city of Fitchburg, and our Twin Cities are just so much stronger because of you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm really delighted to be here, and I want to thank Senator Cronin for inviting me, because I've had a chance to do some thinking since we talked. And I've lived in Fitchburg all my life, except for the period of time I was in Salem. That was about 14 years in total. And thinking back to when I was on the city council in Fitchburg over 50 years ago, I remember distinctly getting calls periodically, and sometimes, especially around bill arrival time, from people who I represented with their concerns about their utility bill. And I hadn't really thought about that, but that's how long it's taken. And thank you, Governor Healey, and your staff for coming up with something that will help everybody. Thank you very much. Anyway, I'm a senior, and I thank President Roosevelt every day of my life for Social Security and Medicare. And I can't imagine if we all didn't have an opportunity to be helped. And I really, I have some political heroes, but President Roosevelt was just an amazing leader. And I'm retired, and I do live on a fixed income. And again, I'm grateful that I can take care of all my bills. And again, that wouldn't be the same if it were not for Social Security and Medicare. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm thrilled to hear about Governor Healey's legislation, because I know it's going to help. And I would say to all of you, oftentimes wonderful things are happening, but everybody doesn't read the paper. And so after the meeting today, when you're meeting with family and colleagues, talk about this bill, because it's going to affect everybody. And I'm really very happy to be here today. And I'm a Fitchburg person in Leominster, Massachusetts, and absolutely thrilled to be here. So thank you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Ellen, for those thoughts, and thank you for many, many years of public service. Many, many years of public service, Ellen, and you earned every single bit of that Medicare and Social Security that you're getting. And I know that as a senior on a fixed income, addressing utility bills, which have been sky high, which have been going up, is so important. It's so important for families and people across this state. Again, I want to thank Mayor Mazzarella for hosting us here today. Thank you, Mayor, for your partnership, for your leadership. He's going to buy me coffee later at his cafe. That's what we're going to do.
I'm on a fixed income.
Yeah. Well, then I'll buy. But I want to again thank everybody, particularly the folks on our team in the administration, for really making good on my charge to get after it in a short couple of months. And so we're proud to be able to file this today and put it before our wonderful colleagues and partners in the legislature who've helped us deliver a lot for families the last couple of years, and I'm looking forward to delivering on this as well. With that, we're happy to take any on-topic questions. Okay. Well, let me say a couple things. One, we took steps on Mass Save earlier. I asked the DPU to reduce the charges for Mass Save, and they did that a couple months ago. And then in this legislation, there are some changes to the Mass Save program. I'd also say, though, that, fundamentally, this is due to volatility in world energy markets, and it's about not being able to control our own fate, right? Like, we don't live in a state, we rely on energy coming in from other places. We've worked to build and create new energy. That's why the solar arrays are important. That's why wind off our shores is really important. It's why we're fighting hard to make sure that we work as Northeast states with Canada to make sure that hydro is flowing. It's why we also, in this legislation, are opening up to new forms, including the nuclear. But, this is about supply, and we've got to bring in more energy. And in doing so, we'll be able to reduce the costs and thereby lower everybody's bills. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about that, Secretary, but. Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. And again, thank you to everybody in the Veterans Center.